Stream of consciousness novel. The stream of consciousness technique was a revolutionary technique which tried to transfer the art of narrative almost in every respect. The first user of this technique was a French novelist Edouard Dujardin in a short novel published in 1888. The phrase stream of consciousness, however, was coined by the psychologist William James, who wrote Principles of Psychology 1890. By calling consciousness a stream, James meant that human consciousness is something flood. It is an unbroken current of feelings, impressions, fantasies, half-formed thoughts, and awareness in general. Consciousness is continuity like time, and it is independent of time. At any given instant of time, an individual's consciousness may not be entirely concerned with the present. He may be living through an experience of the past or fantasies about the future. The clock of subjective consciousness is independent of the mechanical clock time. The stream of consciousness novelists try to tender the consciousness of his character in its fullness without the least authorical intervention and without ordering it into a logical, lucid, and even grammatical narrative. Works like Joyce Joyce's are indeed revolutionary in the history of English fiction. Psychological and philosophical background. We have mentioned above the name of William James, who coined the phrase stream of consciousness. However, the stream of consciousness novelists are much indebted to Freud, Jung, and Bergson than to James. Freud's theory of a collective unconsciousness and myth and archetypes and versions of the subjectivity and relativity of time created around 1914, what Allen called the right environment of ideas, which nurtured the stream of consciousness novelists like Joyce and Virginia Woolf. Dorothy Richardson, who made use of this technique in her series of 12 novels, Pilgrimage, is not an outstanding name for the reason that her psychology is largely pre-Freudian. New concept of reality. The stream of consciousness is a revolutionary technique because of the fact that it is based on a revolutionary concept of reality. It is a common practice to contrast modernism with realism as if the moderns were not concerned with reality. They were in fact as much concerned with reality as any of them predecessors. But them concept of reality were very different as them technique of presenting it. For them, reality is not something superficial, mechanical, rational, or purely scientific, but something deeper, mythical, illogical, or even irrational. In her justly famous essay, The Modern Novel, Virginia Woolf enunciates the new concept of reality as also the new concerns of the modern psychological novelists like Joyce and herself, even as she rejects the theory of Edwardian predecessors like Wells, Galsworthy, and Bennett. She denounces these novelists as the materialists who delight in the solidity of the fabric without venturing to come to grips with the inward reality of life. Advantages of using the stream of consciousness technique. First, freedom from the constraints of time. The stream of consciousness is, according to Digest, a means of escape from the tyranny of the time dimension. Traditionalist as Ward puts it, keep them eyes upon the calendar and the clock. But because human consciousness is not a respecter of time, and the job of the psychological novelist to render this time losses its tyrannical rigidity. Thus, one specialty of the stream of consciousness novelist is them daring experiments with time. James Joyce in Ulysses has confined the outward action to a single day, June 16, 1994. Whatever experienced by the consciousness of the three central characters on that day is rendered by the Joyce in 1000 pages, so on. In Mrs. Dalloway, Virginia Woolf too confines the outer plot to one day in 1923. However, her handling of time is so subtle that reminiscence, reverie, and even hallucination form a delicate and very suggestive pattern which offers the reader not only an insight into the deep recesses of a Mrs. Dalloway's mind but also into the mystery and meaning of the life itself. Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse comprises three parts. The first and third cover the outer action of a day each, while the middle one, which is the shortest of all, covers a period of 10. Such free handling of time is an obvious advantage. Complete objectivity. The progress of 20th century novel is marked by the disappearance of the author. In other words, narrator has approached the condition of drama. The stream of consciousness novelists try to render the flow of the consciousness of a character as strictly as objectivity as possible without any comment. The true literary artist enjoys words like the god of creation remains within or beyond or behind or above his handwork, invisibly refined out of existence, indifferent. Disadvantages of choosing a stream of consciousness. First, disregard of material outer reality. The stream of consciousness novelist concentrates only on that minuscule component of reality which impinges on the consciousness of his characters. He shows no interest in events, even earth-shaking ones, which do not do so. Thus, it fails to render life in its wholeness. Lack of form and pattern and even meaning. Liberating themselves from the tyranny of time, the stream of consciousness novelists expose themselves to the danger of chaos and formlessness. Adherence to chronically is a strain, but it is also ensures clarity of contours. Ulysses is indeed a tour-de force, but for many readers it is still an enormous puzzle. The last 50 or so pages the novel render the stream of consciousness of Molly Bloom without any mark of a punctuation. Joyce Nest novel Finnegan Wakes is still more difficult to follow. To the uninitiated, it looks like a mass of words, several of which are not to be found in a dictionary. The principal users of this technique, the first British user of the technique was Dorothy Richardson, whose long novel Pilgrimage comprised 12 volumes, the first of which Pointed Roots appeared in 1915. Pilgrimage is a semi-autobiographical work which presents the life of the heroine Miriam Henderson. Dorothy Richardson disliked the stream of consciousness. She was not a bold experimenter like Virginia Woolf or Joyce. James Joyce is the greatest of the stream of consciousness novelists. His first novel, A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, 1916, is a quite autobiographical but at the same time objective. It tells us how the hero Stephen Dedalus found his vocation as an artist after experimenting with religion and politics. The next novel, Ulysses, is the most complex and amazing features. The protagonist, the middle-aged Irish Hugh Leopold Bloom, is made analogues to Homer's Odyssey, and each of the 18 episodes in the novel corresponds to one in the Odyssey. The extended analogy complicates and enriches the significance of Joyce's novel. Joyce's last novel, Finnegan's Wake, which took him 17 years to write, is indeed a hard nut to crack.